Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Here. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
Stretch words like
no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here. Yeah. Here. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right here.
stretch words like
no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk lives right.
Okay, guys, we are back. Hopefully they fix this, but I may have to put it on mute for a second. So let me kind of get into what we're going to do. I have an attorney out of Texas. She's going to come and talk about her experience. If you guys are just coming in, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button, share the video, subscribe to the channel. She also has her own Instagram page in which, okay, I thought she had took me off hold. So let me just tell y'all, they've been taking my website offline. That's why I'm on their ass. See, they should have just left me alone because I'm like a pit bull. So they should have just left the website alone. Now I'm on your ass. Okay, I'm on your ass like never before. You should have just left it alone, but you went messing with the website. I'm on your ass. I ain't even gonna tell you what I'm about to do. Y'all should have stopped while you was ahead. Now they saying Judge Roach, because he's a roach. He's a roach, okay? They talking about he getting ready to retire. But I'm on y'all ass. Y'all shouldn't have messed with my website. Y'all, they took the website down. You know, they got these folks in these different organizations and they do weird shit. But I'm built for it. I'm on your ass, okay? I'm on your ass like never before. You got the right one. Now I see why God keep waking me up to do these videos and I'm tired. I'm on your ass, okay? And I'm built of steel, okay? So all of this stuff, all it does is give me more energy to tearing your ass the next day. So you ain't did nothing, absolutely nothing, okay? But what you did, you just messed up for yourself, okay? Now let's recognize a super chat, some of these super chats. Claudia May 9832, thank you for the $4.99. We got a new member. Thank you for becoming a member. But I want y'all to know, listen, I don't give a damn what they do. At the end of the day, I'm riding till the wheels fall off, like I said before, and then I'm going to put them buggers back on, okay? Well, ain't no giving up. All they doing is you just making me go after your ass harder. That's all you're doing. Because now you're showing me everything that I found was true, because there's no way that you're trying to take people website down and doing all of this for some false information. Like, I mean, you said that Karmelo was guilty, you know. So what are you doing? Now, the attorney that'll be joining us shortly, I want to introduce her so that y'all can know who she is. Now, this is who she is over on Instagram. Make sure you check. Ooh, I'm about to show y'all my damn DMs. Oh, Lord, what am I doing? Give me a second. I want you guys to check her out. Oops, I still got my DM open. Lord, what's wrong with me? I want y'all to check her out. She cute too. I was just looking at her page like, okay. So she is an attorney. Correct me. I mean, when she comes on, she'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that she's in the Texas area. So check her out. But I want to show you guys something, because I was actually on social media, and you know how stuff just come down your timeline and you be like, who is this person? Let me show y'all the first introduction that I had of her. And I was like, I don't know who she is, but I like her. All right, I'm going to show you guys this. Oh, not that. I can't show y'all that, but I will. But I want y'all to.
How did this happen? Oh, I'm empty. I can tell you I'm numb. And I can tell you that this country hates us. What I witnessed today in this slaughterhouse of Collin County, because it's a slaughterhouse and it's meant to slaughter us, was the injustice I wrote about in Shut Up and Prosecute, where my colleagues said, no, don't tell our secrets and how we really play with justice for politics, how we really play with justice because of race. Don't tell our secrets, because I watched a young man get legally lynched in their courthouse by a white racist judge, a white racist prosecutor, a white racist jury that was designed to legally lynch him. So fuck the solidarity with white people right now. I'm standing in solidarity with my people. I'm standing in solidarity with the people that look like me. And if any other race got something to say about it, fuck you too. Because you don't deal with our pain. We have been predisposed to the fear that y'all try to place on us. And then when we respond, we become a threat to a community that was designed to legally lynch us because of the color of our skin. So don't come at me about some fucking solidarity with these pigs at this slaughterhouse. Because I know their pedigree. I know that they hid evidence. I know that they legally closed this case so that we wouldn't see what the fuck they were doing. But now we know what the fuck they're doing. And my foot is planted on every motherfucking neck that was attached to this case that legally lynched Karmelo Anthony at this motherfucking slaughterhouse. See, I call it the slaughterhouse because it's full of fucking pigs. I'm not being nice to these motherfuckers. You play with mine, I play with you back, the legal way. See, the legal community don't like for us to put y'all out there. They're like, oh, it's a secret. Fuck your secret society. Everybody is fucking fair game. If you ever fuck over a client, if you ever fuck over a defendant, if you ever fuck over a victim, you are on the motherfucking clock. This case was surrounded by politics, race, and proximity to privilege. You see, they don't want to talk about how this DA, the DA and the lead prosecutor, 𝐬𝐻𝐫𝐞𝐿 has skeletons, as in sexually harassing women at this slaughterhouse. But else we're going to show the world what the fuck y'all been doing at this goddamn slaughterhouse. The slaughterhouse is on motherfucking display, and we're going to see how y'all ass feel because we know the legal community, they like to stay private. Ain't shit private anymore. Welcome to the motherfucking public opinion court, where your truth will become your motherfucking reality. With false evidence, fake evidence, lying witnesses, lying white motherfuckers who have a tendency and a propensity to fucking lie to win. What the fuck is winning when you are affecting a young black man that got home safe and protected himself from a white, racist, domestic terrorist of a child? A lot of y'all are looking for information on how did this happen.
When I saw that, I said, I don't know who she is, but I like her. I like her. I like her. I like her. Everything she said, I'm with it. Everything. So she's going to be joining us shortly. But she was one of the attorneys that was down there, as she say, the slaughterhouse. Okay. She was down there in Texas, but I want her to share her own experience. Now, another thing I want you guys to see is this behavior that they do. This is just how they are. everybody that has stepped up for Karmelo, these folks done did some weird, you know, whatever it is they do. I don't know, but I know with her, it was some stuff they had did to her. I mean, she would have to explain it. I have met other people online, they have did stuff to them. And then, okay, you know, they got this ugly white looking lady, Sarah, running around here doing stuff to people. So this is just what these hunkies do. I don't care. But she had posted this because, you know, folks had been, you know, just doing weird stuff. Okay. She cute. So, you know, if you in Texas, you know, you got your stuff together, you know, and you know, you might want to hit her up. I was like, she cute. I like her. But yeah, they had been harassing her and doing all of this only because she decided to support who she wanted to support. Why is it that they can support everybody that done killed George Floyd and everybody else? It's been so many people, but they don't want you to support who you want to support. Isn't that crazy? Well, I tell you what them honkies can do. Kiss my ears, okay? Yeah, because y'all going down. Like I said, Karmelo has an army of people who have joined together. We don't even know each other. We don't even know. I didn't even know these people exist. But people are coming together for the sole purposes. Somebody said that's my girlfriend. Look at this. Somebody said that's my girlfriend. That's funny. But we have come together for the sole purposes of supporting this young man because we know that he has been railroaded. And one of the things we all have in common is we want to see justice. And we know there was no justice. There was no justice. Karmelo was railroaded. Because Karmelo was railroaded, and people have joined together. Listen, y'all, I was over there on TikTok. Told you I was on TikTok. There's a man over there on TikTok. They did the same bullshit to him. I don't give about these hunkies. I done told y'all before. I like white people. I don't like hunkies. I don't like rednecks. So I don't care. It really don't bother me. Because they fail to realize I don't live in Texas. I live in Atlanta where the black folks own everything down here. So you can kiss my earth, okay? You're not doing anything to me, but you're going to get your friend fired. So what they did, they went and did some stuff with the website, okay? You know, they're weird, okay? They're very weird people. They don't want Karmelo to get money for an appeal, which is crazy because if he's so innocent, why y'all so pressed? What really happened to that boy? Did he really die from what y'all say, or did he overdose from fentanyl? I mean, I don't know. What happened to that boy? Y'all don't want, you know, y'all don't want us to know. Now they're saying you can't get the autopsy. Why they don't want nobody to see this boy autopsy? What really happened? I don't believe anything these folks say. Now I'm starting to believe maybe he didn't die from what they said he died from. I'm just gonna say it. I don't know what happened to that boy.
Hello, Lakeysha.
Wait 1 second, y'all. I'm actually going to let y'all hear this. Y'all need to hear this. Okay, ma'am. Can you hear me?
I hear your voice again. Yep, I can hear you now. Now, do me a favor, Lakeysha, okay? Because we're having error whenever we completely doing the process. Can you try to log out from your GoDaddy account for now?
You want me to log? I don't think I'm logged in. You mean log?
Oh, you're not logged in yet.
Are you saying log into the what part are you telling me to log out of?
If you're not logged into your GoDaddy account yet, can you try to log back in for me, please?
Okay, so I am logged in. You want me to just sign out? You want me to sign out? Is that what you're saying?
That's right.
Okay.
That's correct. That's right.
Okay.
You get it right.
Because like I said, ma'am, I know you're fixing this, but I still want to speak to a supervisor because like I told you originally, one of your employees deliberately took my website offline. So I need to speak to somebody's supervisor because somebody need to be looking for another job right about now.
Not a problem. Okay. Later on, I'll make sure I'm not going to hang up on you until you talk to a supervisor. Okay. I'm just focusing on this, on how we can publish again, the way on how we can donate to your website because you're very helpful. You're one of the good Samaritan, I would say. So thank you so much for doing this website.
Okay.
For everyone's behalf.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. You're welcome. Now, yeah, once you log back in, let me know because I'll be asking you to republish your funds his freedom website.
Okay, you want me to log back in? I logged out.
Log back in for me, please.
Okay, I'm gonna log back in.
Uh-huh.
All right, just give me a second.
Sure, not a problem. So while you're doing that, let me also download the form so I can get a supervisor for this feedback. So we can,
Okay, ma'am, I'm logged in. What do you need me to do?
Okay. Now, once you log back in, you know how to republish your website, right?
Okay, you need me to go back into a Arrow Builder, right?
That's correct. And then publish it again.
Okay. And I never unpublished it, so.
Yep. So you have to unpublish and then republish on your end because we made some correction to the button. So it will be refreshed completely.
So on my end, ma'am, it says something went wrong. Failed to fetch dynamically imported module. What do you want me to do? Ask Arrow to fix code, or what am I supposed to do?
Yep. Ask Arrow to republish, to unpublish your website and republish.
Okay, so say unpublished website.
Yep. And then after Arrow responded to you, type in again publish. So it will publish again your site.
Okay.
Let me know if you show a complete process, okay?
Okay, what I need to let you know, you do not need to be charging me anything extra because your employee, y'all employee went there and did illegal stuff and unpublished the website. So I'm not paying anything extra. I've already paid.
There's no need. There's no need for you to pay extra. We're doing this as part of the troubleshooting.
Okay.
So we can then again donate to your website.
Okay, so I hit unpublish. I'm just waiting for it to update. It's saying something went wrong. Yeah, when I hit, so I typed into Arrow, I said unpublished website, and it said something went wrong.
That's the only error. Is it okay to do me a favor, Lakeysha, since I already have you on the line, can you send me the screenshot of that exact error so I can forward it to our level 2 team?
Yeah, I got a screenshot of it right now. You want me to put it in the chat?
If you can send it to me via email, that will be helpful.
Okay, give me a second. Just give me a second. Okay, guys, we're going to get started soon. I have the guest in the back. I'm just fixing hang up here with GoDaddy. As y'all know, they took the website down. So I had to reach back out to them to have the website put back up. But then I had told her I wanted to speak to a supervisor, but I told her I would just have to talk to the supervisor later, because I actually been on the phone with them for an hour prior to me even starting this live, but we're going to get started. Okay. Let me move this. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Absolutely. How y'all doing?
We are great. I was just telling everyone, I said, you know how you're on social media and you see stuff that come up. I was like, I like her. I like her. I like her. Whoever she is, I like her. But thank you so much for coming. I just wanted you to come because after I had saw your video, you know how stuff comes up on our timeline. I was just seeing stuff about you and I saw you being attacked and I put 2 and 2 together. I said, oh, okay, she's getting attacked because she supports this family. But then they try to do it to me. They don't understand how we're built. And it's just like, okay, what's next? You know what I mean? So let me call her over here because I want to know about your experience, because I'm going to be honest, I haven't met anybody that told me that the experience was a fair experience. And then when I saw your video, I literally wanted to cry. Like when I saw one of your videos, I literally wanted to cry. And partially the reason why I was overcome with emotion, because we're talking about a kid. Like this is not a 30, and not saying that it is right if a person is a different age, but we're talking about a kid, you know, like you're throwing a child in prison for 35 years. What have we, like, what's going on? Like, I'm just mentally, I was like, what is happening? Like, so it just made me, I'm like, I got to do something. So I started doing these videos. Then I started learning about, you know, the family saying that their GoFundMe and stuff was shut down. So I was like, well, I don't want to create a fund because, you know, it feels weird when you're dealing with money and then people be saying stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I don't care what people say. At the end of the day, I don't care. I know who I am. So I said, you know what? I'm going to start a fund for him. Do you know in one day we had raised about $4,000? One day. One. Do you know them hoes got the website shut down?
That's what you were on the phone?
Yes, and listen, I didn't do you know, those GoFundMe or those 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫𝐞 thing. I just created my own website because I figured, you know, I don't want to go through that. So it just goes to show how ugly and nasty they are.
Oh my God! And this is
yeah.
I have no words for these despicable human beings, and because they don't understand how we overcome each and every time. And at this point, I don't give a damn what you understand, because we don't operate under the same guide. So to see that, because I've been seeing other creators that are being attacked for possibly using their streamline as well. I saw yesterday, 2 days ago, Sherelle Hodge got attacked by Sarah J. Fields, the terrorist of this whole situation. The way that this woman has capitalized and has brutalized and has demonized this family, and the fact that she has went to the ends of earth to try to get anybody that supports or set up a fund, attack them. And this time it didn't land well for her, because now we actually know that this heifer allowed her ex-husband to essay her daughter for years. And then this heifer had the audacity to abandon her, leave her children at home. And you got it. And a neighbor said she did it often. So now she got a conviction for that. But see, this is the thing about white people. And I'm talking about these hillbilly country white people. And I'm talking about her specifically because she lived in Tyler, Texas and East Texas. So they breed this kind of BS when not protecting their kids. Right. So when you try to come at someone for helping, just be mindful to know that it's going to come back on you tenfold. So now when you are trying to attack somebody, because that's all they do. Everybody that is coming with this venom are pedophile supporters. They support them eating babies. They support killing babies. They support anything that is criminal towards children.
Right.
So I'm like, we are not the same. So we would never be in the same lane for you to ever have any opportunity to think that you can go and pull something that is public knowledge and think that you're going to come and try to tear it down. Because, baby, you got the worst of the worst. You neglected your children and you allowed a man to essay your daughter for years. So we are not the same.
Not the same. Not the same. And so I didn't know who this lady was, but everybody kept bringing this lady's name up. So I had to go look it up. And I said, oh, I get it. So she appears to be somebody that is working with this family, or is that what you're gathering, or is this her normal rhetoric that she puts online?
Oh, before this, I didn't even know who she was. Okay. So she makes it seem like she this activist and, journalist. Girl, you are not a journalist. You are a pedophile supporter. That journalists don't operate from that same lens, but she's MAGA too. So when I first saw her report on it, because I've been reporting on this Karmelo Anthony case since the day it happened, and she has literally been a terrorist to this family. So her life existence is from this family. Her growth and her platforms is on the backs of a Black family. So she has continued to really harass. And I don't know if she understands, and I don't care, but this family has several ways to sue her when the time is right, because you have literally spewed out lies, you have defamed, you have caused them harm, you have caused them to be harassed. Baby, your time is ticking, and it's so many others that need to get sued. And if I'm this family, I'm collecting names, and if y'all all associated, I'm filing a federal lawsuit on all y'all. Let's see what y'all do in court with this, because we saw what that man that lied about the Sandy Hook kids, what happened to him.
Oh yeah.
So we finna have a Sarah J. Fields.
He lost everything. Yeah, it's I mean, I'm laughing because I'm like, they just don't understand who I am. I don't give about nothing they talking about. When I make up my mind that I'm going to do something, you're funny. Like, this is funny. I said, you know what? All this did was give me ammunition to go harder, because you shouldn't have did that. Like, you don't get to take somebody's website down for what? Then they try to contact the first. So I was going through another payment processor. They contacted the payment processor and said, it's fraud. What's fraud? People, if the website say donations, it doesn't say anything is being sold. It simply says if you want to donate.
And but here's the thing about these dumb white people. That's why they got mad when I did my speech outside that courthouse, and I wasn't even planning on it, but I understand what my assignment is, and that is to educate. And it's time out for individuals in my profession from being so proper and prim. No, fuck that. We finna tell it exactly how it is. They want to spew this rhetoric. I'm finna take it to the grave with everything that y'all are doing. So that they say, oh, it's an educated Negro. Yeah, I am an educated Negro. And for them to feel some type of way because I said that white people are dumb, they are fundamentally dumb. Why do you think that they had to come and enslave us and use our brain, use our skills, use our backs, use our bodies in order for them to create the wealth that they had? They couldn't do it on their own, because nobody has a brain that actually functions outside of the hate in their DNA. So when they do that and they think that they are going to get like what is happening to you, we can get your IP address, fools. We can get your phone number. An investigation ain't nothing. So if you want to play on that scale, let's play in the court, because that's what they bet on, that we're not taking them to court. No, I take you to court. Exactly. Your time.
Yeah. Yes. And they want to take credit for shit that they didn't do. You know, we pretty much everything that we use now and forever, Black folks created it. And, you know, and
Right.
that's what I'm telling
The
people. I
air, the GPS,
right.
the IVF. Shit, y'all experimenting on us because y'all got broken bodies. So cancer, y'all experimented on us, and now that family just now getting compensated for y'all stealing. That's all they do. They steal, they lie, they kill, and they cheat.
Lie, honey, lie. Woo, child, them the lioness ass folks. And I love your energy, because what I learned, this is what I'm starting to learn about some Black people. They want to fit in. I don't want to fit into shit. This is who I am. This is who I'm going to be. I never said I don't like white people. I don't like honkies. Okay. I don't like them. Okay. I didn't say I don't like white people, but the racist ones, no, I don't like you. And I'm not changing.
A lot of us that we get along, like I have some amazing white friends that don't go for any of this.
Right.
And for me, I feel a sense of responsibility even when I talk about their race, because I know that's not them. And I know the way that their family raised them was the opposite. And I know that if they had to make a choice and they seen one of us that needed our life saved, they would do it. But it's these other ones that are afraid of our power. And that's the one thing with us, that understand we are the most powerful race just by existing. And we don't utilize that to our full capacity, and we don't collaborate on that to our full capacity. And that's where we get diminished in the whole ecosystem.
Right. Right. Yeah, I totally agree. Can you tell me, because like you were there, right? You were there, and like before you joined, I had played your video, a couple of your videos. But what was that experience like? Were you able to go in the courtroom, or you were?
So because I've been covering this case the entire over a year, and I've had connections to the family as far as, assisting or communicating from the background. Okay. So when I saw that the media list was limited to white only, I said no. So because I have a weekly panelist spot on Roland Martin, and I know how Roland is very dedicated to making sure that our stories are being told. So, our stories are being told, that I reached out to him. I was like, hey, I'm going to be there anyway. I can be the correspondent to provide you all with information, daily information about what's happening, what's going on. And they were able to reach out to the Anthony family in order to reserve us a spot with the family. So I was able to, now I will tell you, got a little tricky that I found out because Drew gave us the instructions that the investigator gave us, that we had to check in at least 24 hours before that we were going to be there. So that's what I did the day before. And it was like 2 o'clock. And she was like, well, we had to submit it to the court by noon. Well, that's not what you told Mr. Anthony. But I'm not going to push back. So I kept trying to refresh her memory to let her know that, hey, I'm supposed to be here for it because we are Black media. Right. And it was at one point, hold on 1 second.
Okay.
Y'all, the AC went out, and it's hot in Texas, so I had to get them people come out here because But she made it seem like, oh, where if you're media, then you need to be in the media line, because they only had 9 spots reserved,
Yeah.
And if you wasn't the 9 of media, then
Right.
you had to fall into the 27 that
Right.
they had for open seats. And that, when I tell y'all, it was like Hunger Games. Oh, it was like, you thought it was like an apocalypse, like how people were in that line trying to get in, because truth be told, they're supposed to provide an additional space when it's over capacity. That's
Right.
just what I'm accustomed to. When I was in Dallas County and we would have these big trials, we had the Roy Oliver trial, which was Jordan Davis, who had got shot by the police. We had the Amber Geiger case, who had got shot by police. We had the Dr. Death, the doctor that was going around paralyzing and killing people. We had an extra courtroom for them to go in to stream it. So when I saw that, it's every man for themselves, the first day, because I said, I don't care what, I don't care. I will stand in line. I would stand in line. So I get there. Now, mind you, I got to tell this funny story, because Black women, man, we going to forget something. It could be our brain. And on this day, I'm speeding up the road now, because Collin County is about 40 minutes from me. Okay. So I'm speeding up the road. And I'm like, ooh, because I have my wig on. And I'm like, oh, and I look, I'm like, where my wig at? I said, where she is? She ain't sitting over there. So I had to,
Girl.
I had to drive back home to get my wig. So
we be on the go. We be on the go. Look, I know.
I'm driving like, my wig. So I get to the court. Of course, the 27 slots are taken, but I stayed until like 2 p.m. I was upstairs, and then I went to my car to just continue to report on what I could report on, because we could have our computers if we wasn't in the courtroom. So that was the first day, and that day it was pretty heavy. I saw white supremacists, but I saw us in solidarity. And that was the day that Jack Lang was out there acting and talking about he needs to be hung and stuff like that. And I'm like, huh? But I also recognized why the judge required that. He didn't want us to see this case. Mm-hmm. And I knew that from the inception. But that first day before the first day, the jury selection, I didn't stay for that because I already know what the logistics is. But I did see more. I saw the 12% that is the accounted for as minorities in Collin County. It looked like 12% was accounted for during that process, but they were struck at the end of the day. They were struck for cause, and they were struck, I believe, due to race, gender, and ethnicity. Race, gender, or age. So after that first day, I was like, oh, it's giving a time to kill. So that was my perception on the first day. And knowing this non-Black jury, and knowing that the prosecutors had limited access and visibility, and it was just screwed. He was screwed from the inception. Screwed.
So being that you because I feel like, and it's funny you say that, because after hearing everybody's story, I said, yeah, it seems like he was misrepresented. There were so many things, but I feel like it didn't matter what happened. I feel like this was still going to be the outcome. I just feel like that after seeing how all of this stuff played out. You know what I mean? Like, I hear people say, oh, well, the attorney didn't do this, the attorney do that. Now, I do feel like that the attorney had a hand in it, but I also feel like that this was going to be the end result. Somebody sent me this because I didn't know anything about this. There's a judge. Her name was Suzanne Wooten. She went through a similar situation where they put charges on her because she ran for a judge and she had unseated a judge. And it was this whole situation where she ultimately came back and got the charges what is that when you appeal it or whatever, and she had the trial,
overturned on appeal.
Yeah. Yes.
Did she go through the full process, or because if she did, they dismissed it?
Okay, so I know she wasn't retried. So it was her and some people that was working for her. They try to say all of this different stuff that was related to election. Doing a Donald Trump, didn't want to believe that the lady won for real. So they trumped up all these charges. She had in her complaint that they told her, which this is how you know the lady didn't really commit a crime. If you just leave, you'll be okay. But if you don't leave, we're going to put you in jail. You're going to lose your house. And it's all in there. I said, this is crazy. So they went to the grand jury. I think it was 6 times. And at one time, the grand jury wrote a letter to the judge and was like, please don't bring this case back. We don't see any cause. Ultimately, they charged this lady. She ended up getting, I think it was like 10 years probation, but she ultimately got it overturned.
Yeah, but they do that to what was her race?
She was a white lady.
And they didn't like what she was doing.
So I don't know very much about Collin County, but what I learned from what I read in her complaint is that they didn't like that she had ran for a position of a current judge. She unseated that judge and pretty much took his job, but it's legal. You can do that. So the judge went into the district attorney's office and told them they needed to charge her with something. So it was crazy. I'm just like, this is crazy. So what she said, you got to look it up. What she said in her complaint was one of the reasons they were mad because she won. And for 2, they didn't agree with some of the things that, some of her policies and different things that she, was for. She didn't go in specifically to say what it was, but she basically said they didn't agree with her. But if you look back, if you go look at the case, guess who was involved? Judge Roach's father. He was a district attorney back then. Yes, his father was involved. She ultimately sued that state, but she wanted to sue them individually because she felt like, what they did was, they did too much. But ultimately, they pretty much said, she can't sue us personally. We were doing our jobs. No, you wasn't. You wasn't doing your job. You maliciously went after her. But yeah, it was his father. It was Judge Roach's father. At the time, he was a district attorney.
Listen, I'm glad you talked. I did not know anything about this because this is literally what I'm experiencing at this moment. And a lot of people don't understand how dark district attorney's offices are when you have a voice and when you don't submit to the status quo. I'm literally experiencing the same thing, but at the hands of Black men. And so I take my interest in justice was high before I left from being a prosecutor, but it's even higher now because I've seen it and I know how they use their power, money, and resources. And the *𝐾𝐶 with them is that they left a paper trail. But a lot of people are not patient in the process to know, okay, you have to follow exactly what God's design is, because a lot of us as an attorney, we like to fight naturally. Right. We're natural fighters. So when you have to be like silent, like that ain't what that ain't what you put me here for. No, I put you here for this reason so that I can use you to undo what is going to happen to others in the future.
Right.
So knowing that happened to her, like they do that all the time, but they don't know that there's a paper trail to follow. Right. I don't know if she pursued because the individuals in my situation definitely, I told them, I said, listen, December 31st, you're going to find out whether it's going to be state or federal.
Right. Yeah, she ended up suing, I think it was $600,000, but I think it was more because when you read the complaint, it said it kind of stated that they paid the $600,000, but it didn't say that that was all that she got. So I don't believe that the 600 was everything that she got. But she she won. And when she went back and took it before the appeals court or whatever, they said they had no reason initially to charge her. They was like, this is gone. So yeah, it was. And you know who was involved? Y'all governor. Your governor was involved. He was the attorney general then. Is that Abbott? Is that his name?
We call him Hot Wheels.
Oh yeah, Hot Wheels.
He don't get the respect of a name. We got Hot Wheels.
Yeah, so he was definitely involved, and so was Judge Roach's father.
That's the white, and that they be the ones in there doing the most dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And that's indicative of who Bill Worski is and Greg Willis, the DA in Collin County and the lead prosecutor on this case. Both had to settle $1.75 million just in 2023 for sexual harassment and retaliation of 7 white women at that office. And it'd be the audacity that they come out with statements and say that, oh, I can't wait to have my day in court. You didn't have your day in court because you settled. Right. So therefore, we would never get to hear the lies that you was going to tell on the stand because you knew it was best for you to settle. And in a civil case with that implication, you are guilty to me. Everything they said you did. Like, you paid your way out of it. But that's what these white prosecutors do. Like, the second chair, which a lot of people don't know, before we get back into the trial, the second chair on this case, his name is Dewey Mitchell. Dewey Mitchell was my misdemeanor chief division. No, he was over the misdemeanor division when I was in Dallas County. Okay. Dewey, great. He was a great boss. I didn't have any issues with him. But what I learned was that the prosecutor that took over his case, who was also took over his position, great prosecutor, didn't have any issues with him. But I recall before a lot of this stuff came out that when he came into one of my workrooms. Now, I showed up, I looked my best every day. Like, I worked out. I was like, yes, if I'm going to be in this courtroom, I'm going to be looking cute. I'm going to be looking at my look. He said, one of my colleagues told me that he mentioned to him, was like, yeah, I wonder what Thelma looks like on a pole.
What? These folks is crazy.
And he told it to one of my close friends, but he doesn't know how close we were. And I'm like, what? I said, and it made me it made me feel sick because there was nothing about going to work where I was looking at somebody like, I want to take them down. No, I was there to do a job. I really don't like lawyers like that anyway, because they're all fake and phony. And they have this secret society as if you can't talk about them in public, but they can talk about you in private to ruin your reputation. No, we're going to put you on every platform now. We finna see how y'all survive, since y'all want to put out information on people when they have cases. Let's see how you survive when we start exposing you. So Dewey and his best friend who took over, Dewey ended up leaving to go to Collin County. And I'm thinking he was leaving because the new administration was coming in, because that's typical. But come to find out, his homeboy who took his position was sleeping with 3 white prosecutors who were his subordinates. And the rule was you can't sleep with none of your subordinates. And he was married, and his wife was an OBGYN. But they also tied Buddy Dewey to it. That was like, why you think he left? That was left for us to kind of figure out. But I was like, these same white girls was very promiscuous. They would open their legs for anybody to get ahead. So it wasn't far-fetched for me to believe, because they were just too open, and that's disrespectful. To be like that with your boss, that was very disrespectful. But that's the society that they roll in. And that's why I feel is very imperative that prosecutorial misconduct reform actually happens, because you get too much power to go in there and think that you are above the law, because that's what they do. They think they're above the law.
Right. Now was this person you were just talking about, was that your supervisor, you said?
Yeah, so when I first started, he was Dewey, the second chair that was on the case, Karmelo Anthony's case. He was the original misdemeanor supervisor. Like, he was over the misdemeanor division. His homeboy ended up taking over. His homeboy was another white one. He took over his position. So that's how, and Dewey ended up getting promoted to another division. But he was there, but he also follows this paper trail of indiscretions, like as these men are using their titles to screw these women, and they just fall in the line because that's just what they do.
Just sick. What Willis, he doing more than that. He doing stuff he ain't supposed to do with his nasty, disgusting self. Paperwork all over the internet. Just a mess. Now that's Karmelo Anthony's district attorney that's out here nasty. I put it on Facebook because they was on Facebook trying to talk crazy about you. See, I got a few accounts. Oh, I put that paperwork. I said, why? I said, what about this paperwork? Y'all need to be worried about this man that's in here groping these folks, and y'all talking about something that doesn't even matter. Like, what are you talking about? Like,
that's what everybody's like, girl. People would DM me, is like, girl, I'm over here fighting for you. I said, yeah. I said, thank you, but send it to me so it can add to my damages. I said, don't argue with them. Just send me whatever, because that goes towards my damages. And I don't think people really understand that aspect of it, because anytime somebody posts something that is legally not true, but it's true based off of what has been put out,
right,
all that can be used in future litigations. So I appreciate the Megyn Kellys, the Fox News, everything that's on Twitter, because come December 31st, they are going to feel everything that they have done to every other woman, whether black, white, Hispanic. It's never a white, because they love the white ones. But their day is coming. But as black women, they don't understand that we grew up in an era where we either need the internet or we didn't. We knew how to survive in rooms with snakes, with racists, and we still showed up and shine. Like, you ain't gonna stop our shine. We gonna sit at the table with you. We gonna read what we need to read you down with, and we gonna get up and leave.
Absolutely.
And come back and read you another day. And that's why this particular case, when I seen what they were doing, I said, this is textbook. This is why it's important to have not only your advocates for trial, your legal counsel, but you have to have a legal consultant that protects you through this whole process. Because the one thing that I learned after speaking to Mr. Anthony is that there is a gap. There is a gap whenever you have a minor at the time who has an offense and is arrested, and they have to get a lawyer. That's still attorney-client privilege. The attorney is only required to communicate with the accused or their client, even if they are a minor.
Right.
So when you have that, you still have parents, you still have family that need to understand the process and need to know they can come to someone and ask questions, or be their voice to legal counsel for the questions that they have, so that it can be properly explained. Because, like I said, the attorney's loyalty is to the client. They don't have to tell you anything. And that's how I felt. I don't feel like Mike Howard wasn't upfront. I just don't think that they understood the magnitude, because there's a different level when they can only legally communicate with the son, and your family is left out to figure it out and feel uncomfortable if they need to come talk to you, because you are their child's attorney and it's the law. So I saw that particular gap in this particular case, that and I talked to one of my colleagues who came. She wasn't able to get in, but she's a criminal defense attorney. I was like, we have a gap, and we have a gap that we need to fill, and that's in whether we are trial consultants or legal consultants for the extension of families that have a question and they just don't know how to actually ask it to the attorney. And they don't know how to explain certain things to family members. So there's a lane that is definitely needed outside of a lane that is definitely needed for Black lawyers to be elevated and be visible in order for us to make sure that we find the right counsel for our people when we are in jams like this.
Right. That's, I like the way you explained it. Now, I know people were saying, why did they choose a white lawyer? Honestly, and I'm going to say this because I watched the Young Thug trial. Brian Steele was the best thing that could have happened to Young Thug. So I'm not totally against it, but I feel like because of the type of case that this was, they definitely needed somebody Black. And I'm going to tell you why. One of the things I heard them say, just after hearing people talk about the trial, was that Karmelo said, like, do it and see. Like, how if somebody say, I'm going to hit you, and you be like, let me see if you're going to do it. Or you know what I mean? But they kind of said as if he was provoking. And that's not what he was doing. I felt like the attorney did not understand Black culture, because if somebody say, I'm going to hit you, do it then. I'm not, you know what I mean? So I think that in that case, I felt like they definitely needed a Black attorney, but we know Mike Howard was trash. I just felt like in terms of the white and the Black, I don't think it matters. You just got to have somebody that's going to fight for you. But in that case, yeah, I think they did need somebody that was culturally, because I don't think they understood Karmelo. Do y'all realize that when I even watched or heard from the trial, nobody said anything good about him? Not that there was nothing good to say, but you're talking about the 3.8, 2 jobs, never been, just where is all of this information? Like, he was not even humanized. Like, they made him seem like a monster, and that's not even who he was. Yeah. So I kind of felt like the lawyer definitely missed that opportunity, because I don't feel like we got enough of that.
No, you're absolutely right. And that's what I talk about with the experience. And one thing that I'm working on to fix or try to put try to close the gap is their attorneys don't keep a record of their record. So you don't know what case that they had, how successful that case was, what was the verdict. When I was a prosecutor, we had to keep record of our trials and dispositions of cases. And I thought that was, but it's the state, and also it's for funding purposes too. They want to, see what your numbers are. Right. But for attorneys, we have to have it where our records are able to be tracked or tracked, so that we know exactly what kind of trials you had, what was what was the decision, what did if you picked a jury, what did the jury makeup look like, things of that nature. Because if we don't, we're going to continue to see individuals who, on paper, with what they've done, the experience is there. But I need to know if you've ever tried a case that is racially motivated. I need to know if you've ever tried a case that had a self-defense element. I need to know if you ever tried a case in this particular county with my race, because that matters. And because they didn't have that, and they were being misled by Dominique Alexander, which is a whole nother threat to activism, that family was going to be doomed with picking a lawyer from the inception. And picking white or Black could work in both ways, because when you see Brian Steele, you see Keith Adams. Mm-hmm. Keith Adams is the African American attorney. So when you see Brian, you see Keith, and they are a double team threat, because not only did I get to see them in YSL, I got to see them on the Ahmaud Arbery DA case. The woman that I got to go and see that in person, and they are exactly who they think they are.
Okay.
They are
because
they
got that dismissed.
And I'm like, that's what I equated Toby Shook to be, because I've tried a case against Toby. I've seen him on I've seen him on the Amber Geiger case. He was on the Roy Oliver case. I've seen that. So from my standpoint and my experience with him, I'm like, yeah, that's Toby is the even that's needed in order for this case to have a shot. But what I saw during that trial, he sat down 70% of that time. And I was like, Mike was there by himself. Mike was trying that case by himself. The only thing that Toby did was jury selection, as well as the expert, the ME, the medical examiner. He didn't cross any other witness. He didn't do open to close. He didn't do sentencing. I said, what the fuck was you there for?
You know what? When you read that Suzanne Wooten, I'm almost certain that was her attorney. I could be wrong, but I think they got this group thing, or something is going on in Collin County. But I think that Toby was a part of the mess. So I don't know. You got to look at it. I don't remember. You mentioned Dominique Alexander. Now, I done heard like so much, and I've heard people say, people were around them and they were working against them. And I'm just like, what do you know? Like, what was going on? Because I don't know what to believe. I see Dominique doing interviews, and he's like, well, I'm not responsible for picking an attorney. And I'm like, he is right. Like, he really can't pick an attorney, but then people keep saying that he sold him out. And I'm just like, well, what is the motivation? Like, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, I don't know.
So Dominique Alexander is a very interesting character. And before this Carmelo Anthony case, what I remembered is another case that he fake activated on. He wasn't activating on nothing. Hold on one second.
I'm just reading y'all messages while we wait here. You said, has she practiced in Grayson?
So Dominique Alexander is an interesting creature. There was this family case, and if y'all go look, it was this girl in Denton County. She was paralyzed. She had a baby. CPS lied, and her baby ended up getting taken away. It made national news. She ended up getting 3 powerhouse Houston family attorneys. This is the triple threat. But Dominique Alexander did the exact same thing that he did to the Anthony family. And that girl still ain't got her baby to this day.
So what did you tell her to get a different attorney?
No, he was going on doing press. He was calling, basically making it a race war. And you got to know how to migrate in certain counties that are considered a triple threat to Black people. And I tell people there are 3 counties in North Texas that is a triple threat. You got Collin County, Denton County, and Tarrant County. These are the 3 counties that will screw Black people. And if you cough wrong, you screwed. So when he put that rhetoric out there, it inflamed. And guess what? It's going on. It'll be almost 3 years in December that she hasn't had her child.
Is that the lady? Is the father white or something? I think I may have saw something about that. Is the father white?
Well, the father ain't around. This did the one I don't know how she got pregnant. I really don't. I just know she.
So they're just in CPS custody, like Child Protective Service. Oh my gosh.
And trying to take away her parental rights.
Wow.
So that's because of what he did. So when I saw him on, what originally happened. So Karmelo Anthony case happens, and I'm doing what I normally do. I'm like reporting on it. He hits me in my DMs. He's like, "Do you have access or contact information to the family?" I'm like, "No, I'm just doing what any average person would do that is concerned and sees something that's wrong." So I end up seeing that he make this post that he's representing the family. I said, so in abundance of caution, I reached out to him because I'm seeing the 2 attorneys that he attached to it, as well as a PR person. All wrong, because they don't have the experience. So I reached out to him and I was like, 𝐬𝐤𝐾 ain't never tried no criminal case. Clark, although he's a criminal defense attorney, it's new to him. Right. This is something that an experienced attorney would need. Would be able to assist. And I said, you got your publicist on here coming at 𝐬𝐿 for what? So I was like, well, why isn't 𝐬 on this case? And before he said his response, he said that I had to put them on because, we got to try to get him out. And after that, this is not a long-term thing. It's just, and that was never the case. I'm like, you are a fucking liar. So, because he's throwing them under the bus. And I was like, I can't let you throw them under the bus when this is what you told me. Right. So I asked when we got to 𝐬, he was like, oh, 𝐬 don't have a good reputation in Collin County. I said, and when he said that, I was like, oh, he full of shit. I said, he is full of shit. He's full of lies. I said, the only person that ain't got a good reputation in North Texas is you. But in my head, I'm like, no. So I contact 𝐬 and I was like, because I know that the family had met with Justin Moore, who's in Dallas, and they had a conversation with 𝐬𝐿, but this was after Dominique had tainted them. So now they're trying to figure out who is really trying to assist them. Right. Because now it's like so much going on.
Right, because they're from Louisiana, right? They're not from, how long have they been in Texas, do you know?
I think it was 2 to 3 years before this happened.
Okay.
So they still don't know nobody like that. So so when he said that, I was like, fuck. So I went and called out the unexperienced ones, and he ended up getting backlash for it, and so they got removed. But when I talked to him about it, he said that Billy Clark sent him an invoice for $40,000 for 1 week of work, and it wasn't even a bond hearing because he was still in jail. He said Casey Fox, the publicist, sent him a $35,000 invoice. I said, oh, this is about money for them. They see what's in their 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐫, and it's a money thing for them. I'm like, these are your people. You connected all 3 of these people. So you are using them in order to get money that you are not entitled to. Okay. Because you coming in as an activist, that means that you got to activate, and then it ain't funds for you to activate, and you can't force them to pay you. Right. So when I saw that, and then I saw that Mike Howard had got hired, I wasn't skeptical from the beginning. I just wanted to make sure that he had legal representation. And then when they brought on on Toby, I was like, oh, okay, I see where they're going with this. But he's putting out like all that no Black attorney reached out to him. No, he blocked them. He blocked Black attorneys, and he know Black attorneys know his true self. And an attorney doesn't have to reach out to you because that would be ambulance chasing. So, and he knows that. So he goes on these tours and say, no Black attorney reached out to me. Legally, they cannot reach out to you, idiot, because that would be ambulance chasing. So the activist has to reach out to the attorney, and that's customary, and everybody knows that. So that's one thing that I wanted to clear up for people, because if you hear him saying nobody reached out, they can't. They can't.
I didn't know that. So the attorney can't reach out, but they can't just reach out to the family?
No. The family has to come to you. Somebody has to introduce you to the family.
That's why these people want to be activists and all of that? Is that what they're doing? Like I was wondering, like, where's all these activist people coming from?
So the activists, so when you talk about people like Lee Merritt and Ben Crump, they handle things on federal level. So when it comes to federal, it always have a civil aspect to it. So when it's activists, they can reach out from the standpoint of protecting your constitutional rights.
Right.
They don't, but Lee has always let people know, I don't practice in Texas. I don't practice criminal. Not in criminal court in Texas. I'm not licensed in Texas. So that has never been the concern. And what I told, when I eventually talked to Mr. Anthony, I let him know that, hey, what Lee Merritt does is he comes in and he has a team. He has a team, he has access, he has resources, and he quiets everything around you and takes on that energy so that your system can go into repair until, the end. And I've seen it with my own eyes during the Ahmaud Arbery DA's case. I saw how it was easy going for his mom just to wake up and get ready and go to court and not have to worry about the media and figuring out how she was going to get her son's story out. And that's essentially what was needed here, was an activist that was going to come in and activate on your behalf, but they have the reputation that is going to protect and not harm. Dominique has the reputation that is going to harm and not protect. That's what the Anthonys have experienced this entire year.
Okay. I got a question for you, because I'm trying to understand this ambulance chasing thing, because it seems to me legal that an attorney can reach out. Are you saying that because of the everything was on the news, like everybody know, is that why they can't reach out to them? Or is that just something where an attorney just cannot reach out to you? Because I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, so we can't reach out to anyone if they have just because they have a case pending. Let me give you an example. We had a individual, his last name was Ganesh. He's Indian.
Mm-hmm.
He was a freaking nuisance in the courthouse, in the criminal courthouse. He would walk around, and what we learned, he was going up to individuals, asking them if they had a lawyer, and he was getting on their case. You can't do that. That's considered ambulance chasing, even in criminal. So what eventually happened is one of the clients ended up whistleblowing on him because and this man was so just deranged, y'all. His client was set to come to court. He didn't tell his client about the court date, because what he would do is not tell his clients about the court date so that they can get a warrant. And if they get arrested, they got to pay him again to get them out.
Good.
So that was his one client that whistleblowed on him. And this whistleblow ended up blowing back on me because his new attorney comes in. I can't forget his name because he was a piece of shit. But he comes in, my client is in jail and it was a Ganesh case and we got to file a motion for new trial. And I'm playing with him because I know just like that, he get irritated.
Mhm.
And he was like, my client would take a lie detector test. And I was like, oh, I know about your clients and lie detector tests, because he had one client that was he was molesting children.
Mhm.
And he went like, my client would take a lie detector test, and the client took and failed. So I'm joking with him. He don't know I'm supposed to know this. So I'm like, I know about your clients and lie detector tests. He was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? This man chased me out of my workroom. I had to go get the marshals, but I specifically remember that because Ganesh, when he ended up getting arrested for he was trying to have intercourse with an underage, and he was also indecent exposure of one of his paralegals who was underage. So he ends up getting arrested, and they end up, for his punishment, putting on the beartree charge, because he ended up getting charged with beartree, and that's ambulance chasing, because he was doing it around the criminal courthouse. So when people don't understand how it equates to criminal, you still cannot go up to anyone that is accused or charged with a crime and take them in, like, and offer your services. They have to find you. They have to come to you. Just like in civil, they can get referred. Anybody can refer, but you can't just go up and say, I'll do this.
Right. Got it. Okay. Because I just never heard of that. But I guess, since you put it that way, okay. So based on what you saw, because of course you were in the Karmelo Anthony case, based on what you saw, do you think that he has a good chance of this case being appealed?
Oh, he has several grounds for an appeal. One is the jury selection. That's one, because they're going to analyze if they discriminated, because he objected. The great thing is he objected to Batson, and what people need to understand about Batson, it was a Supreme Court case that decided if attorneys can discriminate based off of race, age, and gender, because you can't do it. But they were bleeding it into jury selection, and the Black people were not getting put on juries. So Thurgood Marshall even dissented on saying that we need to get rid of preemptory strikes in itself, because that is where the Batson comes from. It doesn't come from the strikes, because there's unlimited amount of strikes for cause when you are on a jury panel. That means someone can't follow the Constitution, they can't follow the defendant's rights, they can't sit in judgment, they have experience that is going to affect their ability to be a fair juror. Those are ways that they get struck for cause automatically. But after that, the jury, both sides get a certain amount of preemptory strikes where they can strike, but it has to be neutral. You can't discriminate based off of race, age, and gender, and you have to have a neutral reason. If it falls into the race category, where you have, in their case, you have 3 qualified African-American women that are still in a pool, and you strike them, you have to have a race neutral reason. And this judge, they could have told him anything and he was going to deny the Batson. So that is one of the strongest early on challenges that, in my opinion, should be the reason why it is overturned and sit back for a new trial. So you have that. Because we haven't seen the pretrial motions to know what the judge excluded or included, those are some documents that are always public that we usually have access to. But when this judge closed down and put a gag order, he removed public access from us seeing what procedural effects or procedures that were going on in the midst, that we would have some indication of how this trial is going to go. So in pretrial motions, you argue that evidence or witnesses or statements are not admissible or admissible. And you have to provide case law, you have to provide legal arguments. We just don't know what was excluded, but we know that experts for the defense was totally excluded, because any defense attorney that is putting on a self-defense claim is going to have a use of force expert. They're going to have a mitigation expert. They're going to have their own ME expert, but they didn't have that here. So it could have either been a defense or it could have been solely on the judge denial. There is so much that we don't know, and we have to wait till this information is unsealed and get transcripts so that we can follow the paper trail.
So are you saying, because what I'm hearing you say, so, and this is what I was explaining to my audience. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but I said, I know before they go to trial that there's things that they agree on that they won't let in. So you think a judge would say that they won't let an expert witness in?
Yeah. To be honest with you, I've never seen a defense expert witness not be utilized in their cases. Every defense attorney that has utilized experts when I was in Dallas County always granted, always. And this particular venue, I'm 50-50. I'm 50-50. I see someone ask, how do we get it unsealed? So right now, since the case is over, there is a way that anyone now can get access to it, even if it's on appeal. And that's by way of a public information request. And all you have to do is you submit it to the county and ask for access to the case file. You can get the access to the case file through the DA's office. You have the police department. You have the school district.
Right.
So that is on the public responsibility to go out if you want access to it, because now that the case is over, we have the ability to go and submit. But understand that we are in the state of Texas, and in the state of Texas, and they have a motive to withhold. That's what Ken Paxton is doing. Ken Paxton has denied us access to get the video.
Right.
And we know Ken Paxton is up for election for Senate. So there should be a motivation to anyone that's in the state of Texas to understand that this individual is up for election and you are still violating someone's right to a fair trial after we know what you've been doing. That's a question that should be on individuals' mind when they go in and vote in the November election. So once you submit that, you have to submit it to 3 different entities. You can't submit it all at once. You have to be specific in what you're asking for. You have to have the case number. You have to have the defendant's name. You have to have the timeline. Like you can say,
how do we have that though? Because it's sealed. So how would you have the case number? How would you have all this information if it's sealed?
Yeah. So, now it's unsealed because it's no longer a prosecution. There has been a finding of guilt. Mm-hmm. So at that point, that's the only way active cases, you can get information if it's going through the criminal justice process. But let's say if a person had pled guilty, from the date that the case they have pledged, you can go in and get that information. That's how a lot of people have Sarah J. Fields' information now, because her case is over. So you just submit it to the police department, which is going to be in the state of Texas, the Attorney General. You have, of course, ISD, that's the school board, and you have the district attorney's office. So you have 3 ways to skin and eat from their, I ain't gonna say eat the cat because they like eating animals too. I forgot who I was talking about.
I don't believe they release the information. If they're withholding the video, I'm sure they're gonna come up with some excuse. I just don't think they're gonna do it.
Yeah, the case number is, you said if they don't.
No, I'm saying I don't think they're going to release the documents. I think they'll come up with some excuse because as it relates to the video, the case is over and they're saying they're not going to release the video.
Hold on, because I need to respond to this girl who is in the chat who is misrepresenting any and everything that I'm saying. Her name is whatever Kaya, whatever her name is. There is nothing within any statement that I've made that said I represented or needed to notify the family as if I have any attachment as a representative of the family. What I have done is I have allowed the family to have access to ask me information, ask any question that is related to the law that they may have. I have also provided resources as an advocate, real advocates to the family. I have also advocated for the family. So it's very irresponsible to be on someone's thread and you misinterpret what someone said and they said it verbatim, that you act like a white woman and you're not using the brain that your ancestors gave you in order for you to equate what is reality or not. You don't have to like anything somebody says, but you don't have to lie on an individual either.
Yeah, some of these people do stuff in the chat that don't even make no sense. If you can't be respectful, I'm just gonna get you out. Like y'all, and yeah, I'm gonna get you putting too much stuff in the chat. Chill out. You just saying stuff that don't even make. I don't pay these folks no attention. Somebody said that girl about don't pay her no attention.
I'm okay with being a bot. I'm okay with being a plant. Because when I step in rooms, they know where my integrity stands. They know where my integrity lies, and they know where my character is. So,
right.
Individuals who make statements like that when we are actively trying to advocate for the injustice that happens against us, that tells me that when you get into a situation that we need to remain silent and not show up and advocate for you, because we're going to have people with your thought process that diminishes the worth and the worth that individuals bring to putting your story on a platform that brings someone that can assist or brings awareness.
Right. And that probably was, they saying that that's a fake account because they create fake accounts and use anybody's picture.
I know. And I'm like, don't use a black woman. That's why I said a white woman, because it was given very white. It was given very, very Sarah J. Fields.
Right. Because again, I'm not a lawyer. I tell people this all the time. I'm not a lawyer. I know how to read stuff, but some stuff I'd be like, what does this mean? Yeah. I've been hearing people say anything the lawyer did not object to, they cannot bring it up on appeal. Is that correct?
Not necessarily, because that can be seen as ineffective assistance of counsel.
Gotcha. Okay.
So, but it has to rise to a level. For example, the attorney, this is why I said we just don't know what the judge ruled on motions or what can and cannot be said, because I'm pretty sure there should have been a pretrial hearing to talk about lay witnesses being able to give the ultimate conclusion of law. Right. Because the state kept asking and the judge was allowing these kids to say it was murder and it wasn't self-defense. I was like, are you fucking on crack?
Right. Because a lot of attorneys was like that. And listen, I'm not an attorney, but when I was in, I said, y'all, I don't think that's correct, because these are regular people. How can you have them testify as if something is self-defense? They're not a lawyer. Like, that doesn't even make sense. I think I heard a lawyer say the only thing you can ask a regular person is related to drinking and driving. That's what I heard. They said you can't ask them anything unless they are, they got a background in this particular field. You're asking them to establish what the defense, self-defense is. And I'm like, why is the attorney not saying anything? And they were like, you cannot do that.
That's why when I was in that court, because when I was trained in law school, my trial coach, he was this blonde-haired, white, blue-eyed, Caucasian man from Austin, Texas. So you already know he got the cowboy accent. He always drilled, write down everything. Your job in trial is not to be looking around. It's to be actively writing, because something is going to be said that you need to prepare to object to get it on the record. And you're going to need to ask a follow-up or use that against the person that said it.
Right.
When he kept doing that and asking the ultimate conclusion of law with these lay witnesses, I'm like, the judge must have denied this on the back end, because ain't no damn way I wouldn't have been held in contempt. You wouldn't gonna have to put me in a holdover, because ain't no way you finna sit up here and let these little lying ass kids get up here and say what is murder and what is not, and they don't have the knowledge, skill, experience, and training and education, because that is what qualifies experts. We have to make sure in your questions of experts, and I had to, qualify experts a lot. They had to qualify based on education, training, experience, their knowledge, any articles, periodical articles, you had field experience. Those are what considers individuals to be qualified as an expert to give the ultimate conclusion of the crime that has been committed.
Right.
If they don't have it, you can't ask a layperson. That is one, violating the defendant's constitutional rights to a fair and impartial trial and due process, under the fact that you are literally trying to force and you're invading the privacy of the jury by utilizing unqualified witnesses or that ain't even experts to testify to the actual charge that you have done. You have charged this person with.
I got another question, because I don't trust these folks. Like, I have never in my life. Now, I know corruption happened, but this is corruption. Like, they don't care. They like, F y'all, we can do whatever we want. Like, this is like in your face. Is it possible that the transcripts can be falsified? I'm just asking, because I don't know what they will not do. So I'm just like, it, like when everybody is waiting for it to order these transcripts. I mean,
child, you just made me feel even more afraid. I'm like, wait the fuck. Yes, it can.
They've done everything at this point. So I'm just wondering, what will the transcript say? You know what I mean? These folks are another level of corruption that I just haven't saw it. So, to constantly, get folks website, like this is I've never saw anything like this. Like, I just haven't. Like, I don't know. So I don't know what they won't do.
Yeah. So, and this is another reason why, if you think about major cases that have been, that have come through, they are streamed.
Right.
The trial was streamed. So we have a backup to authenticate if a record is mismanaged or mishandled, because it's recorded.
Oh, good.
He intentionally did not allow cameras in that courtroom.
I heard. See, now you see what I'm saying? I heard that. So what in the hell is going on here? You see what I'm saying? I heard somebody said this, and you know how people say stuff and you hear it, but you don't really take it in. Somebody said it wasn't no cameras in that courtroom. I didn't pay them no attention, because I said, this person don't know what they talking about. What are you talking about? There's no cameras in the courtroom. Now you just said it.
Exactly. And that's a new element that needs to be considered, because this is one of the reasons why I am very involved in the future of holding judges and prosecutors accountable. When you falsify, when you exclude, when you do not provide, when you wrongfully prosecute, you wrongfully convict, and you have the power, it's time for your power to be taken away. And I'm not talking about just a firing. No, you need to be prosecuted to the highest extent of the law. And probation does not need to be an offer, because you took an oath to protect and serve and seek justice, not to get in there with your agenda and intentionally take away and deprive someone of their constitutional rights.
Right.
And I don't put anything past these individuals to that know, and that the fact that we're able to call it out, they sit behind these doors and they plot and they come up with their schemes and their agendas. But in the age that we're in, they are not as savvy as they used to be, because now we have access to technology. And that's what I want a lot of your viewers to understand about the legal profession. The legal profession, when it comes to technology, is one of the last major professions to even want to touch technology, because they know that they can manipulate if it's on paper, but they can't manipulate when it's technology.
Right.
So that's what they have had to grow into being accustomed to, because when we went out on the pandemic, they were upset that we had to resort to technology because it creates a paper trail.
Right.
And that ends up with holding them accountable. So we just have to not only make sure we are electing the right individuals, because these elections count more, we also have to make sure that these officials are putting in legislating on our behalf to protect us from bad apples that are in these high-powered positions that have, with the stroke of a pen, can take someone's freedom away.
Right. So dang it. So there's no recordings of the proceedings
other than the court reporter.
He should be in trouble for this. Like this. So I'm telling you, somebody else said that, and I was like, no, I know that didn't happen. So it seems like, what you said, intentionally not creating this paper trail. Nobody's able to see it. So, and that's why, so I didn't even realize anything about, like I said, the cameras. I heard people say it, but just all of the stuff that I'm learning, these are some corrupt MFers, and I believe they'll do anything. So now I'm like, okay, is the transcripts going to actually say what we can go online and see? What are these transcripts going to say? Because, well, you did mention, what is that when your attorney doesn't represent you correctly? What is that called?
So for defense attorneys or any attorney outside of being a prosecutor, is ineffective assistance of counsel. When it's a prosecutor, it's prosecutorial misconduct.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So what questions do y'all have?
I
think somebody just.
Oh, so I see someone said venue change was denied. No, it was never asked for. It was never asked for. And let me debunk something right now, because there's this guy going around saying that venue was improper. No, the way the county lines work in Texas is janky. I will tell you that, because you can live 1 mile from Dallas County and be considered Tarrant County. And that's essentially what happened here. The stadium is, I want to say, 3 miles on the county line for Denton County, but is also on the county line for Frisco, which put it in, not Frisco, but Collin County. So the way they set it up, that stadium jurisdiction is Collin County. So that's the reason why, even if it was a change of venue, y'all, that Denton County is no better. Tarrant County is definitely not no better. And they definitely wouldn't send it to Dallas County, because it's too many of us that look like us that comes to jury selection. So it definitely wasn't going to be that area. So he never asked for it. And when you don't ask for it, you don't get it.
Right, the change of venue. But then I got a question, though. How would we know, though? Because it's sealed. Wouldn't it be, or would that have been public? I don't know.
It wouldn't have been public, but I doubt that he asked for a venue change. If he got Toby shook on the case, and if Toby is what people are perceiving to be a plant, they wouldn't have done it. I'm telling you, if it was somebody black, the colors We asking for it. And I'll tell y'all something because I want to answer her question. There's a federal case in Mississippi, and that is with the former mayor of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, the DA, and it's a city councilman. They are being and they were indicted on bribery for some convention center. Now, these are three powerful Black men that pretty much brought a lot to the city of Jackson. For the first time, the federal prosecutor put in a request to change the venue because Jackson, Mississippi is too Black. I kid you not. And I said, I beg your fucking pardon. Y'all concerned about venue. Y'all the one that brought these damn charges. If you was concerned about the venue, you shouldn't have never brought the charges if you was that concerned. Of course, the judge denied it because that's ridiculous. But I was like, oh, so now y'all concerned. I said, what in the caucasity is going on?
Right.
So that's one of when from the venue question.
Gotcha. What did you think, just from your experience? Obviously, you're an attorney. Okay, so the judge was like he wasn't going to allow cameras. Okay, so here's my thing. And a lot of sometimes judges do that. He still could have had cameras set up where people could have came to the court and watched it in other rooms. I feel like he made this difficult on purpose. You know what I mean? Like it just seemed like he just did nothing, especially by this being such a big case and people wanting to know. I was watching, I don't remember what show I was watching, and they was like, well, the judge did that because he knew that people were interested in this case, and he decided to not bring cameras in the court. Okay, let's say judge, and this is what he says, there were minors. How many shows have you watched where there's minors and they just don't put the camera on them? So them being a minor didn't mean anything because they didn't have to film them. But let's just say he said, okay, well, I still don't want cameras. They could have still filmed it and just had people that was in the building watching it. What was your take on that, being that it was such a huge trial and the judge just didn't seem like he cared?
So I would tell you, you never want to give a judge ammunition in a conservative racist county to have the authority and use it, even if it restricts and just limits, because this is why advocacy is important. The first 90 days of a charge or an arrest for a charge is very crucial. It's crucial not only for your defense, but the public perception. So if you have someone that is creating a race war within the first 90 days of this incident happening, you have the Proud Boys coming down to Frisco and having a rally. You have Dominique Alexander holding a pointless and useless as press conference that inflamed it because Jeff Metcalf went he shouldn't have been there, but the way that Alexander handled it was also inflaming and giving the judge the power and authority to limit access. So when that happens, the world is like, oh my God, you see how they treated the father? Oh, this is so bad. Now it's in sight even more. And he's continuing to go online and spew these things, and it's inflaming. And you have minors and you have a racist judge. Now he's like, I'm going to pull the curtains back as much as I want to now because you Negroes that went out there and showed your ass just like I knew you was going to do. So that's the reason why advocacy, having a right advocate on your case, can silence the noise or inflame the noise. And that's essentially what gave him even more reason to do what was not going to be done he wasn't worried about the minors because half of them had become adults.
Right.
Have him
Right.
turn 18 by the time this
Right.
case would continue, so he no longer gets to have that. Let's see.
Somebody says, first of all, with you being a lawyer, when the jury didn't get to deliberate or make up their mind, that's called a mistrial and start all over again.
So that when situations like that happens, it's usually a hung jury. So you usually have, because 12 in the state of Texas, it's unanimous. Everybody got to agree.
Oh, everybody.
Yeah, everybody has to agree that this person is guilty or not guilty in order for it to be unanimous. If there is one holdout, that is going to be a hung jury and it ends in a mistrial. So in this particular case, because this is a good way for me to educate on what elements look like. So he was charged, the elements that the state had to prove was intentionally or knowingly. So they get the either or. And what that looks like for a potential juror or a juror is if 5 agree that is intentional and 7 agree that is knowingly, that the state has proved beyond a reasonable doubt, they have met their burden and they can find him guilty. Even if they don't agree on intentionally or knowingly, so long as they agree on one, regardless of how it splits, and it meets the 12 unanimous. But if you have, let's say, 5 that's intentional, 5 knowingly, and 2 that's like, hell no, they ain't do what they were supposed to do, hung jury, mistrial. They have to start over or they have to figure out if they're going to retry it again. So that's essentially what happens in a mistrial. Or what can also happen is the state could have produced evidence that they did not turn over to the defense.
Okay.
That can lead to a mistrial without the jury having even deliberated. So it's a lot of ways a mistrial can happen, but customarily it's a hung jury.
I got a question for you. This is what I was told by a few people, that the jury, after they decided to find him guilty of murder, they picked the murder charge, I was told that they couldn't agree on what the sentence was going to be. And they said the judge just basically took it over and was like, I'm going to sentence him. Is that normal? I thought that they had to agree in order for, him to get whatever time, but they said no, they couldn't figure it out. So the judge took over. And I was like, yeah, I don't know.
That's not how it's supposed to happen, but listen, some judges have no moral compass and moral character, and they lack, professionalism. So I don't know exactly what this what happened, but I do know that it took them 30 minutes to come up with their verdict. And I see a lot of people saying 2 and 3 hours. No, it was 30 minutes, because when we went out after the jury charge, after the closing statements and the instructions, it was almost noon, which means it was time for lunch. They get an hour lunch. I want to say about 1:30, almost 2 is when we got the notification that they had a verdict. It was before 2:00 that they had a verdict. So it only took them 30 minutes to deliberate, which to me says a lot. And it took them longer on sentencing when the evidence that they heard, that just let me know they didn't examine anything. They didn't question anything that the state put on. But you want to question sentencing and taking somebody's freedom for 35 years. And I remember seeing a white woman who was on that jury. She had the fucking audacity to be up there crying. I'm like, bitch, no. You should have taken more time to assess the truth in this case, but you assess the lies that y'all allowed the prosecutors to provide you with. So don't hold your white tears. We don't believe you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you convicted him, you knew that he could get, what was it, one something to 99 years. What was the minimum he could get for the charge? That 5 to 99 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, but when they said the judge, that's why I'm saying, I'm like, this is crazy. Like, are they going to, do some fraudulent activity on these transcripts? Because with the judge just stepping in, I'm like, this is so much. It's unbelievable that these things happen, but it's also a little crazy that, I mean, provided all of the fraudulent stuff that they done did. I'm like, are they gonna do it to the transcripts? Because it's just don't look good.
And that's something that we have to put out in the public. Also, we have to be like, hey, y'all, let's not get our hopes up, because we still got to make sure we can authenticate the transcripts that are going to be provided to us for the appeals process. Let me touch on that, because someone asked in the chat about the appeal process. What chances, like what is he looking at? Is it looking good? Is it looking a little shaky? I would tell you, we have an election coming up in November, and there are 3 benches on the Court of Appeals, because it's going to go to the Court of Appeals that's located in Dallas first, for the first bite, to see if they are responsible and they overturn it and send it back. Right now is a 7-6 conservative over Democrats. 3 of those benches are coming open, and we have 3 overqualified Democrats that are running. If we can win those 3 seats in December, meaning in November, even without, bringing race into it, I mean, not race, but bringing the current state of what the identity and makeup of, he will have an even better chance at this case being overturned and sent back to the lower court to either retry or dismiss, because of the makeup of the Democrats versus the conservatives. Because Democrats typically follow the law.
Right.
And they look at the law not just from a standpoint of color. They look at the black letter law as the law that requires them to do the right thing, not do the right thing based on their party. Right. So that's that's a topic that has to be utilized as the importance, because this case is also dependent on this election. And Dallas County is majority, is 62% minority. So if we 62% minority, and we show up, because this is a big election, and it's an election that is big across this country, we can do damage not only on the Court of Appeals, but we have the ability to put 3 Dems on the Court of Criminal Appeals too, that are also running. So we have leverage, and the power in our vote is even more important this time, even though it was important previously. But when we're talking about leveling the playing field, that's important.
Right. I agree. I definitely agree to that. When Hunter gonna be arrested for accessory?
Oh, never. He white.
Exactly. They're not gonna.
Here's the thing. Also, I was able to see text messages of cheerleaders that these brothers terrorized. These cheerleaders were afraid for their life.
Mm-hmm.
I believe one of the boys allegedly threatened their life. And this information was very much admissible by calling Hunter to the stand.
Right.
But he wasn't called because he had so many inconsistent statements that were lies. And that was going to nail him like he should have been. So
Right.
another thing, the defense had just as much subpoena power to call him to the stand.
That's what I was wondering. Why didn't they do that? Like, why wouldn't they call? I was like, Hunter, the one that talking about his brother died in his arms. He's nowhere to testify. He done told all these different stories. And the defense, like, I can understand why the prosecution did, but you could have subpoenaed and made him come. Is it correct that Karmelo was the only one that didn't have to take the stand because it was his trial? Is that correct?
Yeah.
But everybody else got a subpoena, right? And they would have had to testify. And that's what I said.
Karmelo's dad told me the night before or the night before that they anticipated that they were going to call Hunter. So when I'm getting there, I'm like, oh, we about to have Hunter gonna testify today. Womp womp. Womp womp.
I know you can't speak about this because whatever y'all talked about, that's y'all business. But I really feel like, because I've saw some of the stuff that like the relatives have stated, the relatives, and I just recently found this out, stated around the time that this happened that Karmelo had been jumped. And this is the same thing that we all figured out. I feel like the parents know what happened. So I don't know what the attorney told them or what was said to them, but I feel like at this point, your son received 35 years. Just tell it. Like, it cannot get no better than this. So I don't understand, like, I understand them not understanding the legal system, and I get it. People can tell you stuff and you want to protect your child and you don't say anything. But the moment those people, you thought they was going to do all this stuff and now your son is in prison, I'm telling it. Like, I'm telling, this person said, don't say this, and I didn't know. This person said, don't say this, and I don't know. But this is really what happened. Why do you think that they are not saying it? Because I feel like they know, but they won't say it.
I'll tell you from my standpoint, when I talk to them, I don't ask it. I don't ask for that particular information only because I know there was a gag order. So I was like, I don't want no one to be able to say that you did or said something that was in violation of a court order. Right. Now, honestly, it's going to take the right person for them to actually sit down with and have that intimate conversation in order to get the truth out about what happened. Because I can say, as a parent, you never know how you're going to respond or act or reduce in order to protect the sanity and the integrity of your child's case. We can only anticipate, but when I've interacted with them, or especially the father, I understood, and I knew this was a new territory for them, because not only do you have to protect the integrity of the order on the case, you also have to protect the safety of your family, because now these people have doxed you. Jeff Metcalf came up to he said allegedly Jeff Metcalf came up to his job and that's how he got fired. You had people swatting, you had people just saying the most vile things, wishing the most vile things. And when you have that kind of threat that is coming from all sides, right, your only option is to remain silent and deal with it the way that is going to be less intrusive as possible. And you're going to rely on the trust of your attorneys, because that's essentially who you are relying on to make sure that your rights are protected. Right. I believe that they had the right advocates from the beginning. we would have a different view of the reality of the whole case in itself, because it would have been their story would have been able to be told without being said.
Right.
There is no way that racism should have overshadowed the true identity of who Karmelo is. At 17 years old at the time, like you said, 2 jobs, 3.8, captain of both the football and the track team. He was also a protector. He saved the little boy's life. He was a great son, a great brother, a great nephew, grandson. All of these things should have been something that we was able to push, but for the racism of it all that was introduced based on a bad advocate. So I can say, give the family some grace, because if I hadn't had any conversations with them, I couldn't vouch for.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like when I tell you, this man was very much concerned and very much looking for help.
Right.
When you have Dominique Alexander, that closes the space, because people know how dangerous it is to have him on as an advocate, and how he would have forced the real advocates to walk away. And instead of doing that, he had to figure out that Dominique needed to be removed. And I can tell you, Dominique is on an NDA that I drafted and made sure it was airtight and protected the family from him going around. But he's doing these interviews. That is because he don't care about the integrity of this family's livelihood. He don't care. So it's very difficult, because you don't know how you're going to respond when something like this happened. And then when you add the element of race and threats and
I didn't think you're right. Yeah, that's I mean, when I heard that they had moved, I think it was 8 times, and the father losing his job and being the sole provider, that's a lot right there. Like, that's a lot. That's why I get so irritated when I see this Metcalf crazy looking dude on these podcasts talking about he's been threatened. All they do is lie. You know what I mean? All they do is lie and try to become a victim. Man, you are the one that was creating the atmosphere where these people were, being harassed. Folks coming, they said people was coming to their house. He said, somebody told me that the people was coming to his job. He the finance manager. And then I don't think it was just the father though. I think he was sending folks too, because they said people was going in there as if they was going to buy a car and then start talking about the case. So just all kinds of things. And I still don't understand why they targeted the family. Like, why are you targeting the mother and the father? They wasn't there. Like, they didn't have anything to do with what happened between 2 kids. So
yeah, and that's the thing. No, it just boils me inside. There would have no real advocate would have put that family in front of a camera. The advocate would have spoke on the behalf of the family and not expose them to more detrimental harm. When you saw that interview, that press conference, he was talking more about what was happening to him and not happening to the Anthony family. He was bringing up race. He was bringing up he was bringing up everything that did not matter. If you're going to do a press conference, you do a press conference and standing in solidarity, because at the end of the day, we now have 2 children whose lives have been forever changed. We have one that is no longer here. Right. We have one that is currently fighting for his freedom. No one wins in this situation. No one. So if you're not going to hold a press conference to resonate and reiterate that message, then you are doing a disservice to those who you claim to be an activist for, because that's all that should have been said, if anything.
Okay, so now that I'm thinking back at it, because again, we're not in these situations, so you don't really think like the people that's in the situation because you're not in the situation. So you think that the press conference and then and I like the way you put it, because at the end of the day, it was 2 kids that lives were changed. You got one in prison and one lost his life. So at the end of the day, there's no winners. But now that you're putting it like that, you have one kid that's passed away, and then you got the family doing a press conference, which they don't really know. They're just following what somebody is telling them. So you think that press, because now that I'm thinking about it, and I still support the Anthony family, but now that I can look back at it and think about, okay, so if that was me, how would I feel about it? See, I guess I kind of felt different because when I watched the press conference, she was mentioning, things that were happening to her, which I feel like were true, but I don't know. I guess I don't know because I don't know. I've never really been through that, and I don't know how it feels to be harassed and attacked. But when I saw the press conference, I didn't look at it as a race thing, but I guess some people could have looked at it like that. I mean, only thing I heard her say was she just wants her son to be afforded the same thing that anybody else would get, due process. We're going to go to court, let us go through the process. So I didn't look at that as anything that was tied to race. I just didn't.
Not from the standpoint of the family, from the standpoint of the advocate, what he set them up for. Nothing that they would have said would have resonated as showing compassion or remorse, because he set the tone and he elevated the tone. If you go back and look at any major criminal case, whether they have a child involved or they have an adult, their parents are not out here doing press conferences because they are being properly advised.
Right. I see what you're saying.
He should have never put them in that position to have now that to be hanging over their head as well. So the mother, nothing that she said was not what a mother would hope that was afforded to their child. I just know that they wasn't treated with care. Instead of putting them in front of a press conference, put them in therapy.
Right.
Get a therapist.
Right.
Because that is more important than anything, because now they got to manage the stress of this ordeal, because the eyes of the world, not just the city of Frisco, the world is on them.
Right. Right. Yeah, I guess I agree. I just know everybody keep saying it was him, he did it. So I'm just like, okay, what part of it did I miss? But yeah, that's true, because when I watch, if I didn't, I think I heard about it, but I think when I saw them on a press conference, it made it more personable, because I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, I guess the press conference, it could have been avoided. Probably just don't do it. Yeah, because I think that did give a wrong perception, because people, why they do the press conference, how they gonna do a press conference. Although I didn't look at it like that, a lot of people did. They did look at it like that.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's ways that their message or their statements could have been used differently. A written statement has as value. We want to send our condolences to the Metcalf family as we all navigate the next phase of what we are all experiencing.
Right.
That's it. Pretty much, that's literally how a statement from a real advocate would have been utilized, not the way that it was utilized here. And I'll tell you this person, he likes to go around and threaten females, because we are putting his foot to the fire. And that's why I knew he was dangerous to be around this family. That's why I knew any individual that is attached to him.
Well, Y'all in Texas, y'all know, because I'm telling you, they was letting them have it on the thing. I'm like, what's going on? That lady said, all he know how to do is buy PUS. I said, oh my, what is going down in Texas?
Girl, Texas is what I said, and they got mad at it's illegal lynching, because that's the legal system in Texas. Depending on what county you're in, you're going to be legally lynched. Legally, if you don't have the right attorney for the actual case. And I'll tell you this, I did a panel on Tashira Parker's platform, I think it was last week after the verdict. And there was a lawyer, his name was Attorney Mohammed. What he said made so much sense, because there is a fear we are predisposed to that also puts fear in who we hire to represent us. And sometimes we feel that white people are better than us. There's a way that we talk to a jury. There's a way that we educate a jury that white people simply do not know how to, because they don't have the history and the lineage of how we are able to communicate our stories and our positions. Because us being predisposed to fear was implanted by white America, white slave owners.
Right.
So when you are predisposed, that predisposition automatically is also carried on for generations.
Right.
It's not something that, unfortunately, it's not something that we can just detach from, because it's still a cycle in this country that refuses to see us as whole and reduce us based on the color of our skin. So you have to have an attorney that can utilize your experience.
That's very true.
In order to make them understand, yes, even though this was a child, and what he was witnessing right before him is what we deal with every day, when we have to wake up and look in the mirror, wash our face, and know that the color of our skin, when we go outside the house, we are not seen as equal.
Right. And you know what you just said, that makes so much sense, because we Black people, I always say brown. I don't feel like white people is white. I feel like they beige. I say the only person white is a dead person. But anyways, what I was saying is they can't really articulate, like they can see stuff happening to Black people and they'll just see it, but they can see it, but they not us. Like they can't really explain what it feels like, because it's not them. And in all honesty, if they were raised or they've been around people that say, oh, Black people ain't nothing but this, that may be their way of thinking. And they don't see you as a human, and it's nothing you can do to make them see you that way. So I feel like, what you said, having a Black attorney, depending on who, that person, if you got a white attorney, they just disconnected with Black culture, period, you may need that to be able to bring you as a human. Because did you hear about the news person that made was it a gorilla?
I saw that trick, and I called out for it, because how fucking dare you, as a Hispanic, as an individual, that you're able to have the position that you have because of African Americans. Right. Your people did not come over here and suffer and built this country on our backs. Y'all came and y'all became a extension of having to build this country, because they don't see you as equal as well.
Right.
So it is not just a coincidence that she set her ass up there and said fucking gorilla.
Right.
Girl, be for real.
Right. Do you think that, because I know some attorneys are licensed in, and somebody just put this in the chat and it made me think, they said no attorney in Texas taking this case in fear of losing their license. This is what I gather from learning how these people operate down in that Collin County. I said, because they are so connected with people that you just don't know until it's too late. I said, I wonder, would it be best for him just to have an attorney that has license there and just don't live there? What do you think about that? I mean, do you think that?
So even if you're not licensed here, you can still pro hoc and attach yourself to an attorney in order to be able to represent an individual, even if you're not licensed here. But it has to be approved. You have to apply, and you have to have a specific reason that qualifies for representation. So I can tell you, there are attorneys in Dallas that look like us that would have represented Karmelo, but for Alexander blocking them. And now he's going on a smear campaign in line. So I know attorneys now that are appellate attorneys that are from different states that want to assist as well. So it doesn't matter where they reside. You can have an attorney that's outside of the state of Texas apply to be a part of the case for limited purposes, and it has to be for that particular case. It can't be for a long prolonged time, and you have to have an attorney to be attached to that is licensed and in good standing. So it's always opportunities, and we have amazing attorneys up here. I can tell. I know some. Listen, when 𝐬𝐫𝐫𝐠𝐞𝐿 got his case, there is one defense attorney that's an African American defense attorney. His name is Sherrod Edwards. Now, me and Sherrod Edwards went toe to toe in a trial. It was literally a boxing match. That's how good both presented based on their case. But Sherrod was representing a co-defendant or someone that was attached to what the case was going to be. I was like, damn, I know Sherrod was gonna come in there and just slice and dice the shit up. But of course he ended up with Toby. Now I'm gonna be making some calls you need to tell 𝐬𝐿 that he needs to have a trial consultant attached, because what I just saw with Toby and the extensive issues with that case, you need one of us up in there. Mm-hmm.
If granted the appeal, does the appellate judge select the same defense attorney in the trial? Defense attorney is something that you pay for, or maybe wait a minute. I don't understand.
The appeal, does the appellate judge select the same? No. So no, you get to get a brand new attorney. You can pay for a brand new legal representation. So no, it won't be the same. I hope you won't want to go with the same person as before. Hope, unless you're a Brian Steele, unless you are Keith Adams, unless it's not your attorney that caused the issues of your case, and it was solely on the corrupt prosecutor, and it was nothing else your attorney could do but protect the record so that y'all can get a second bite at the apple.
Okay, I see what she's saying. She's thinking that you have to get the same attorney. Girl, no, this is the most corrupt trial I've ever witnessed in real time. Even Court TV said it was cold. Yeah.
Listen, I was there. I was there, and it was nothing I would ever want to experience is an unfair, unjust trial. But I'm glad that I was there, because oftentimes we don't get a legal analyst to actually articulate what actually happened. We always get these whitewashed reporters who just are there to do a job and are reporting loud and wrong, or from a racial standpoint. So listen, we're gonna have to work on getting more analysts in these trials to actually give accurate information and not reporter information.
And you know what? I can say this. I'd really, hate that this happened to him, But when I see the force of people coming together, Black people, I love to see the attorneys. And that's what made this so different. You have the attorneys talking about like, this is not right. Then you have us regular people like, it don't look right. So I just love how everybody came together and gave their perspective. There's lawyers on Facebook, on TikTok. So I just love to see how everybody have been breaking this case down. Have you heard? Because I just saw somebody say that the judge is retiring. Now, I knew that he had said he wasn't running for re-election, but did you hear anything about him retiring sooner than expected? You heard that too?
When we were during the trial, I was made aware that he was not seeking re-election. Okay. But listen, not seeking re-election don't mean you can't lose your license. Right. Don't mean that what the court finds can. And see, this is the thing, and I hope people hear this. And this comes from an individual that was a part of the system, an individual that recognized indiscrepancies, called it out, was taking off cases because I got too close to the truth. And there is not a dollar, there is not a lie that would ever, whether you white, Black, brown, Hispanic, require that I violate your rights because of a win.
Because you was district attorney, right?
I was a district attorney. I was a prosecutor in Dallas, and then I became a part-time magistrate judge in Tarrant County. So I know both sides. I know exactly what it looks like from a standpoint of a prosecutor and also a standpoint of a former judge when we are evaluating the legitimacy and the legality of cases. So it's very important that we start putting our politicians on notice that we need to hold prosecutors and judges accountable for when they commit these intentional actions, because it is no other way but intent. When you withhold evidence, when you submit false evidence, submit witnesses that lie,
right?
When you are violating someone's due process rights, that is intent, because you no other way can explain it, and you're not turning evidence over. They need to be held accountable by law the same way that they are trying to hold individuals accountable by law when they make a mistake, because that's what they say. It was a mistake. No, it wasn't. That was a mistake, what they did was a mistake. So they should be given the same grace that you're given to leave and not be fired, leave and not lose your license, leave and not lose their freedom. Right. So what this case is going to do is expose the need for prosecutorial and judicial misconduct reform that is going to put their ass in jail if they fuck over somebody's constitutional rights, lose their livelihood, and they now have to live with the faults of what they did when they could have done the right thing and what they're told to do in their profession.
Right. They're all crooked because Judge Roach got in trouble for using his position to sell books. I mean, they're all just not right. And then you figure district attorneys being sued for people, they need to be fired. Like, you don't need to be working in here. Like, why would you still be working here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like,
it's not for you. It's not that being a prosecutor requires someone that has the ability to follow the law at all times. At all times, not selective, at all times. And when you don't, then you do not need to be not only a prosecutor, but you don't need to be a lawyer either. So when I talk about qualified immunity being taken away, it automatically gets grouped into the police, because that's what we'll be talking about for years. But strategically, what I tell people, I say, listen, we can't group the police in, because that's going to kill it if we ever get it down to the Capitol for a vote, because people, one thing about it, people love the police. So that has to be put on the back burner so that we can get the right bill for individuals that will ultimately group them in on at some point. But because we know that they love police, it has to only be focused and centered around prosecutors and judges, because guess what? People hate their ass. Donald Trump hate their ass, and they want to hold their ass accountable. So in this time, we got to utilize the hate that even Donald Trump has for, and calling them liars and, you know, trying to get them former and current prosecuted, to have that momentum, because it affords us a seat at the table to have that conversation and have that legislation. And once it's in, then we can start talking about police all we want to. We can say it needs to mirror, but we have to have this shot at getting this type of reform, because it's time out for the wrongful convictions, the wrongful prosecution, the wrongful arrest. We don't take this case and what we saw and use it as ammunition, we're going to miss our mark.
Right. Yeah. And you're right. Because, you know, I don't mess with no damn Donald Trump, but what he's saying is because he didn't get his way in the court. But what you're saying about the judges doing all that, that's absolutely right. So you're like, listen, this is our opportunity to use that. Absolutely. Devin Mitchell says Texas requires unanimous decision from jury. That's why they didn't have any black jurors. A black juror might have voted not guilty.
Yeah, it would have been hung. It would have been hung. Like you, and then the caveat to a hung jury is, you ain't finna hang me. You ain't finna hang one of mine like y'all used to do. Yeah, that we know that is the motivation. It was to keep one of these black teachers off. Right. Because the one thing we know about teachers is that they teach.
Right.
Regardless of where they are. Baby, that teacher was gonna get that paperwork and say, I ain't see this. You ain't see it either. Right. This is what the law says. This is what the law brought in. And this is what it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. I'm out. Y'all can have y'all little time. I'm over here, baby. I know my position. And my position is not guilty. But if y'all want to fight, y'all ain't gonna change my mind. So you might as well go get cockroach and tell him to come on and roach his ass up in here, because not guilty.
Right. Is it outside the realm of possibility for federal prosecutors to polygraph everyone, including cheerleaders harassed by the Metcalfs? It ain't gonna happen. They ain't doing it. I don't believe they do that.
Not federal, but well, hold on. Well, it could have been federal if Joe Biden's sleepy ass would have provided coloreds with the hate crime bill that protect us. When he was over there providing it to them Asians like Rick Chow.
Right.
It could have been, because that would have constituted a hate crime because of the language and the things that they were saying. And the fact that it's at a government property, which is a school, or it could have been handled by the Attorney General. But I don't trust the fucking Attorney General, because his ass ain't stay out of legal trouble.
He ain't shit. They did not want any cameras in the courtroom because they did not want proof that the video was doctored.
They didn't want us to have the outrage that we would have had when we could have seen it if we would have saw it with our own eyes. They wanted us to speculate and allow misinformation, like the Sarah J. Fields, who lied about everything that happened in that trial, or her minion, some black girl who is a pick-me and she want to be Candace Owens, but she Candace Knowens, and she would never be. So it was individuals like that they relied on to misidentify, as well as why they only allowed white media. And I know, because I applied, I put in an application and they denied. So they didn't want the truth to be told. They wanted to be sold, and that's sold in the form of a lie.
Right. Why not remove the case to federal court under 28 USC 1443? The equal civil rights law.
So here's the thing. That won't, and just to be correct, is this for Karmelo's case or for anything else?
Yeah, because Karmelo's case is not a federal case. So I think they're referring to a civil rights lawsuit because it says the equal civil rights law. I think they're referring to a civil rights lawsuit.
So here's the thing. We have the process. We have to see how this process is going to play out, because depending on what the Court of Appeals comes back with,
right,
and because we know that convictions have been overturned for several different reasons, but what it comes back on is going to then put us in a position to challenge the prosecution based off of if there was any constitutional violations that was identified through the court. And we will have to also wait for Karmelo Anthony to be totally exonerated in order to even examine to see if there's a possibility.
Right. Yeah, it's one step at a time. The first thing is getting him out and doing the appeal. That seems like the first step. First of all, with you being a lawyer, when the jury didn't get to deliberate or make up their mind, that's called a mistrial and start all over again. I thought they did deliberate.
Well, we read that one. We talked about that one already.
All right, we got that one already. We did that one. All right.
Oh, the first question was you in the courtroom? What did you see? Cut the crap respectfully. What in the hell? She said, listen, we ain't got no cameras in there, girl. Listen, give it to us raw. Give it to us raw. You over there putting a Band-Aid and all that. Give it to us raw.
She said, cut the crap respectfully. What in the hell are we talking about?
Yeah, we exactly. We free Karmelo too. But we also got to talk about the legalities and the legal issues that were presented, that also the legal hurdles that were put into place that prevented us from being able to witness a fair trial. And it put Karmelo in a seat of not having a fair trial. So that's all we doing, sis. We ain't trying to hide nothing from you, girl.
The antagonist is that Haitian Dominique Alexander. I didn't know he was Haitian. And ties to what? In Negan, NXT Generation Action. Oh, Next Generation Action Network. 5013C. He leads the family into fire. Judicial. He is the skinfolk cousin. What?
So I get what he just, I guess he just letting us know that because I like how he switched the name from Dominique to Demonique, because that's essentially how he acts. Because
is he Haitian? I didn't know that.
Listen, I don't know what he is. I just know that he attacks women. He ain't attacking no man. He attacking women with his broken speech. But he is an antagonist. He definitely is an insider. He's not a real activist, qualified activist. And from what I heard on the streets is, he behind 5 months on his lease for his office space.
Oh, girl, what in the world? Once the appeal has been won, maybe, can the case be moved to another county with a more diverse jury selection? Say no.
So yes and no. So let's say that it comes back on appeal. Then if it comes back on appeal for a new trial, because it has several ways. It can come back on appeal for a new trial, or it can come back on appeal for sentencing. But at that point, they would more likely send it to the Criminal Court of Appeals. So if it comes back on a new trial basis, that defense attorney can at that point, based off of let's hope that it's due to the Batson challenge, and because they struck 3 qualified African Americans that did not afford Karmelo Anthony a fair trial in front of his peers, people that look like him as well. They can use that to say, under no circumstances can my client receive a fair trial based off of this ruling in this county. So we are going to ask for a change of venue. And our change of venue is going to be, because it has to be within a certain radius. So Dallas County would fall into the radius to have it transferred to, because you have to put down options.
Gotcha.
And the only option I see is Dallas County.
Okay, so the lawyer can say, based on this specific issue, with selecting the jurors, we don't feel like my client can have a fair trial. But they have to list where they would like the trial to be moved to.
Yes, and it'll have to be supported by case law. They'll have to have a whole hearing. Then the judge has to decide. Whatever the judge decides, that can be appealed to if they don't feel like the judge basically followed the law like Cockroach didn't. So yeah, it's a lot of ways. It's a lot of ways.
So would Texas would Dallas have to accept it, or would it just be like we transferring it to y'all?
It's a transfer. It's essentially like when there's a conflict of interest. If you have a DA that, let's say the district attorney or the first assistant, there is a case that maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a wife. Mm-hmm. They would have to then get a special prosecutor and recuse themselves or transfer it to a different county because of the conflict. And they want it because you still have to make sure the defendant's rights are protected. So that's just an example of, okay, this is a conflict. It needs to be transferred. And these are ways that conflicts happen that affords the ability of a transfer to a different county, because it has to be a neighboring county.
Gotcha. Okay.
Did you see I didn't see the real video. No, they played that chopped and screwed video.
I want to hear your expertise opinion. Do you accept that the prosecution's closing argument provided their case from a logical argument point of view?
Hell no. Hell no. That's why even more so it frustrates me that this jury set that on their ass and did not question anything that the state put on, because usually, well, one thing that the reason why it wasn't logical, because he kept putting race in it. So he would underhandedly put race in it, and he knew what the fuck he was doing, because you ain't got no black people on that jury, and you kept talking about how Collin County is safer than Dallas County, and we got to make sure that we protect the interests of the people in our safe county, because he know Dallas County is 62% minority.
Right. Okay. Can she do, I guess they're talking about you. Can she do the case? I think you're meaning to say why or why not.
So two things. I cannot do the case because if you were not here earlier, I explained that right now what I am fighting is a case where the prosecutors from Dallas County went to the feds and lied. And what did they lie about? So Dallas County, when I was working at Dallas County, I also had a business. And I had 2 businesses. One that started operations in 2018, one that never started operations, but it was on the developmental side, and it's for technology to protect defendants' rights. Shocker. But they told the federal government that I was not allowed to have outside employment. And what did the federal government do? And they considered my job, my business as outside employment. What did the federal government do? They indicted me because on your PPP loan, you have to qualify as an employee. Or for employees, I qualified as an employee because I owned and operated the business. Right. But what the prosecutor, the first assistant, testified under oath, which is under penalty of perjury, stated that he never gave me permission to operate my business.
However, that just don't make sense.
It doesn't. Girl, when I tell you, it's a lie. But evidence that will be presented shows that not only was he complicit, because we had an unemployment hearing, and in that unemployment hearing, the only reason why I did an unemployment hearing is because I wanted things on the record. I didn't know I needed until now. And in the record, he states that, oh, I didn't have a problem with her operating Thelma Lou, which is what ultimately led to the indictment, because he said I didn't have permission. But you told the government entity that I did, and you didn't have a problem with it. You said in a memo that you didn't have a problem with it. And you also said in my closing, before you terminated me, that I recorded, that you didn't have a problem with it. But the federal government asked you verbatim that, oh, did you give her permission? He said, no. And I said, I'll see you in court. So right now my license is suspended because of this case. However, there's a judicial process that goes on with it. I can assist in providing consultancy, support, resources, because at the end of the day, I passed the bar and I have a JD. So they can never take that away from me. But as far as practicing, I can't practice under a suspension, but I do have the ability to utilize not only my law degree, but the fact that I'm still allowed to do certain things within a profession because I passed the bar. So it's
nobody can take that away from you. It can't. Good. Okay. So then, you still an attorney. I mean, she still went to school. She still graduated, but you see how, that's crazy for outside employment.
Girl. And I said, oh, that's what but here's the thing that I want people to understand, even with employers, when in doubt, record everything.
Right.
Because if I did not record my termination meeting, it would be a he say, she say, and they really defer to the person that is in authority. They don't care that the person wasn't in the office at the time that my business was operational and did not have the authority to even say what they said to the government. They don't see that. But I tell people to document, record, because that essentially is what is going to save me, and is what is going to end up getting them prosecuted, because they went before a federal grand jury and lied under oath. That's what I want people to also, when situations like this, when you are being attacked by the enemy just because you speak out and you speak up and you are unapologetic and you are not going to go along to get along, or the pay to play system, you're going to become a legal enemy, because they can't control you. So for me, I understand what my assignment is, and I understand why God put me in charge of this assignment. And it doesn't deter me. It doesn't kill my spirit, because I know why. But I have to be obedient to this process and allow the process to work itself out. and not get in the way.
Right.
So
Right.
I am blessed. I am still thriving because they can't shake what they didn't create.
Right. Thank you so much. I want to share. I know before you came, I had showed them your Instagram. So let me kind of share it here, guys. It's the Public Opinion Court. Go over there and follow her, show her some love. Thank you so much for coming on. And talking to us. Like I said, when I saw you, I was like, I gotta meet her. I like her. But thank you so much.
Thank you. And anytime you want to have these kind of lives, especially because I understand how important it is to educate us and educate on, legal topics or anything that that your followers are engaged in or engaged on. I'm always, open to coming on your platform. Like, I love the vibe that is over here. Your vibe, your tribe is they like, I can tell they ride for you because they are active and they are paying attention. They asking questions. They are engaged. So anytime you want me to come on, just hit me up. I'm here, and I look forward to seeing your tribe again.
We may have to ask you, when some, different stuff come up, because I will read stuff, but sometimes I'll be like, look, y'all, I don't know what this means, but this one is for you. Some eyes up, you know what? I got on glasses and can't see. Eyes opened, eyes open, edify. I pray everything will work out for you, sis, and it will. Yes, strong belief and practice. I always stood firm on document everything.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you so
much. All right, y'all. Bye.
Bye. See you later. All right, guys. We've been on here for too long. What y'all saying in the chat? Somebody said, can they arrest Hunter legally? You guys, in terms of arresting somebody, that goes through the district attorney. They're not arresting that boy. I doubt it. I doubt that they're going to arrest Hunter. I really, really doubt it. Can you do a room on this case on Fanbase? I'm not on Fanbase. I'm not on every platform. I can't, like, Fanbase. I tried Fanbase. It just, that Fanbase didn't work for me. Probably not. I don't really know much about Fanbase. I mean, if you want to send me some information, I don't know very much about Fanbase. I started Fanbase, tried to do Fanbase some years ago. I don't know very much about Fanbase. I really don't. But I will be on TikTok. Don't know very much about Fanbase. Okay, you follow me on Instagram. I appreciate it. But like I said, if you want to send me some information on Fanbase, I mean, I can definitely read it and see what's going on. What as it relates to this particular case, I really, like I said, I wasn't really on TikTok, but I know TikTok got their own little thing going on. So I've been going over to TikTok because, listen, I like creating content, but this particular story is close to my heart. So this is a little bit different when I'm talking about the Karmelo Anthony case, because what I want y'all to understand, this is a Black boy that was railroaded. They lied on him. So that's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. Then they going around with a hunky ass, going around here getting people shit took down, and somebody about to lose their job, okay? So whoever you was that got my shit shut down, I hope you got a job for your friend, because they about to lose their job. Okay? So listen, this case is a little bit different, but I don't know. Maybe I can try out Fanbase, maybe not, because listen, y'all do understand that we can't be creating content too if we ain't getting paid. I don't know. Do they pay on Fanbase? Because I'm not going to be able to go over there for free. I know it's Black owned, but I can't do it. We really should start. Yeah, I can't. I don't care if it's Black, blue, or green owned. People got bills to pay. I can't. I don't know nothing about Fanbase. I don't know. People, are they paying over there on Fanbase? I understand what you're saying, but yeah, I know who the owner is. I know exactly who you're talking about, but I don't know. Maybe he can do something to, make it so that people will, be able to come over there. Because the other thing too about it, when you put in content, you actually want a large audience to be able to see it. I don't know what's going on with fan base, to be honest. Somebody said, yes, ma'am, I live in Collin County and they are definitely evil. Oh my gosh. Yes, y'all, I gotta get out of here. It's almost 8 o'clock. I'm starving. I have not cooked. It was nice seeing y'all. I'm about to chill out and get up off this internet so I can be refreshed for these hoes tomorrow, okay? Because Team Karmelo, Anthony, make sure you guys, the reason why I tell you guys to make sure you're liking the video, because the more you like the video, the more it gets into the algorithm so that everybody can see it. Now, if we Team Karmelo Anthony over here, we got to make sure that we are liking the video, because again, if you don't like the video, it doesn't go far in the algorithm. So if y'all can go ahead and like the video, and I'm about to get up off here because I'm starving. I need to go and cook me some food. So I'll see y'all in the next video. Okay. Talk to y'all later.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm listening. Go on. Yes, I'm typing it all down.
Kia, clear, spilling tea, no fear, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. I don't, lives right here. Spilling tea, no fear, I'm still here. Da 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 no. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. They talk loud, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk, lives right here. Yeah. Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Lakeysha, say it clear. Real talk, lives right here. Yeah. Make sure you subscribe to Lakeysha Keysha, my dear. Yeah. I'm still here, no fear, but I'm still here. Lakeysha Keysha, say it clear. Real talk, lives right here. Stretch words like
Spilling tea, no sugar, no fear. Make sure you subscribe to the Lakeysha.